Hello, this is Kari from DustyBunnies. I'm here to talk about something that's been on my mind for a little bit because I have been going through about 2 or 3 people's estates. Mainly, it's mostly just my parents' estate, but there's a lot of my sister's stuff in here as well. And so I'm kind of left with having to deal with a bunch of old family photos and mementos and things that we have multiple copies of, and in some of the cases we have multiple, or not multiple copies, but we have really old photos which are beautiful, but I don't know who they are. I know where they were taken, and so I can surmise that they were either in-laws or friends of especially my dad's side of the family, but to a lesser extent my mom's side of the family. But this is a real problem for a lot of people who have to go through their family's estates. And so I wanted to talk about it today because if there are people out there who have family members who are older and still alive, and especially if they're the keepers of any family mementos or photographs, even though they may not want to write down the things because they're like, well, everyone will remember that this was great aunt, Edna. Not everybody does remember those things, and even if they do remember that there was a great Aunt Edna, they may not recognize her in all of her different iterations through life. So I'm going to show you some of the photos that I have, and some of the ways that I identify people sometimes. I don't actually have photos that I have identified the people in them, but there are ways that you can at least get a clue as to who they are, where they're from, and how they might have known your family. So this is the first one that I have, and this one, I always have a hard time with this because it's filming me backwards. So this one, it's a lovely cabinet card from, I would guess, the 1880s, given her outfit. She might also be from the 1870s, but more likely it's 1880s. I know that she is either related to or was a friend of the family on my dad's side, because the photograph was taken in Harlan, Iowa. Now, a lot of these photos, I'm going to tell you, I've already tried to find out who they are. I've matched them up against other family members that I recognize. She is just not somebody that I recognize from the family, although that doesn't mean she's not an in-law or a cousin that I don't have as many photos of. I've also put copies of these on Facebook, and I've asked the people that are cousins of my dad's if they recognize any of the photos. I put them up and tagged another Facebook group which identifies people specifically who came from the island of Aro in Denmark, because that's where one branch of my family, one person came when she came to the U.S. So I haven't really gotten any positive results on this particular person. Often, if there are other people in the photo, if it was somebody who married into the family, that would help. But other than the name of the city, I just don't have any identifying information. Like I said, I can tell from her dress and from her and from like the hairstyle that it's probably the 1880s. Yeah, so that's one. This one is a little bit more recent, and I actually don't know which side of the family this is. It might be my mom's side, it might be my dad's side, but it's probably from the 1920s or late teens. I think of that boat neck as being a 1920s kind of style for young women, and it looks like it's either a mother and a daughter or an older sister and a daughter. This one, oh, I can actually tell you. This one is probably my mom's side. It says Hubner, Minneapolis. So my mom's side of the family was from Minnesota, and so that is more likely on my mom's side of the family. So if anyone is watching from my mom's side of the family and they recognize that photo, please tell me. Here is a lovely photo that was either floating loose or I took it out of a cardboard frame. I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of glare right now, and my cat is trying to get up and be snuggly with me, which he does when he knows that I don't want him to. But this is a man and a woman. It's not someone that I recognize. I'm guessing this is the 1890s or early 20th century, or the early 1900s, just because of the style of dress that she's wearing. It's a blousey top. That would have been a very popular style right around the time of the Gibson Girls. She's got kind of that thing going on, although she doesn't have the big shoulder things. It's harder with men's clothes because men's clothes, I mean, they have some stylistic differences, but not a lot over time. Here's another one that is from Harlan, Iowa. Now this is probably, again, 1890s. And I'm looking at the blousier top. And I, frankly, have never seen a top, the blouse underneath. I've never seen it quite like that. But, and stylistically, I don't really like this picture. There's a lot of dead space just up here. And it is again, from Harlan, Iowa, and so I don't know this young woman. And I've made an attempt to try to find out. Those are the things I look for, are the cities, what style dress they are, if they look like someone that I have identified in other photos from my family. This one is, again, let's see, again from Iowa. This is from Elkhorn, Iowa. So this is probably, again, well, it would be my dad's side of the family, and you see the lovely mom and dad, and the there might even be a grandma in this picture. Hold on. Yes, so it looks like, sorry, I'm doing all sorts of adjusting here. It looks like there's grandma and mom and the youngest, and then dad up here, and then it's either, you know, grandma's kids, so a couple of siblings of the brother or sister, or it's that young woman who is mom had a lot of babies really young. I'm guessing that these are 1870. These are potentially also fairly recent immigrants, and the reason I say that is because if you look at the young man's outfit, young men in the US didn't tend to have that kind of cut of an outfit. There tended to be a little bit more like of a shirt underneath that was shown, sort of like the older gentleman there. And that tends to remind me then with the belt as well of much more of an old world fashion that would have been brought over. So it's quite possible that these were even recent immigrants who were sending photos home to their family and got a couple extra made to give to friends and family in the new place. So that was another one. I'm going to show this one because this one just cracks me up. Because, let's see, it's also an Iowa one, also Elkhorn, Iowa, and it is, I believe, once again, proof that there is time travel, because this looks very much, in my mind, to Kevin Bacon. Move it closer. Kevin Bacon. Except for the hair. I love the hair. And he was wearing spectacles there. I have no clue who this is. It is not, to my understanding or knowledge, any family member. It does not resemble any family member I've ever seen. I would have remembered a family member that looked like Kevin Bacon. So, these cuties, it's hard to know when they were taken. Again, this is Kimballton, Iowa. So again, it's sort of close to Harlan in Shelby County. This is the southwest corner of Iowa. Super cute kids, super cuties. 1880s, I'm guessing. The earliest that family came was 1870 something. So they were there in the 1880s and having kids. But again, no clue who these are. Most of these are cabinet cards, so families would have made copies of these and given them to friends and family members. They would have put them in those really old, beautiful photo albums, or they would have put them just in a cabinet behind the glass or the china that they were keeping. Would be another way of just kind of decorating their homes. You might put it on, they had these plate rails along the top of that probably would have been a little high for them, some of these, but they were definitely to be displayed decoratively, and something like this. Still super, super cute. These almost look like they're the same age of kids, too. Another photo. I don't think of it's of the same kids because this looks like a different time period. But again, these might have been kids who their parents may have been from Denmark. I actually don't know where these are from. I'm going to guess that they're from Iowa as well because I had them in the stack of photos that was mostly from Iowa. But here they are, these cuties. Oops, cutie cuties. And the little guy is in short pants. And she's got her hair all done up. I don't think it's the same kids, just because the little boy doesn't share the same features. This is not typically an outfit I would have seen on a boy in any of the other photos that I've seen. So I don't know the time period, although I would guess again 1880s. That's just my guess from when the family was there. We have some that are in their own little frames, like this one. This one is from Harlan as well. It's more recent. This little boy. Oops, I can't. I'm trying to manage the glare here. It's not very easy. I'm going to guess he's early 1900s, just because of the frame. Frame shuts like this, and you can set it up so that it's open, and it just sets up like that. It's really cute. This gentleman, again, I don't know who it is. Again, it's somebody either my family knew or it's a family member, and he's not a bad looking fellow. He's probably from Denmark. He's got that blonde hair and kind of those wide set eyes. So here he is. If anyone knows him, I feel sad because I have all these photos. And actually, I think I have another photo of this young man as I'm looking at them now. So this is him, obviously, but it looks like he also had pictures taken with his siblings. And this one is, again, from Harlan. Let's see, is it from Heinz as well? It actually looks like it's from a different photographer. There's something on one girl's cheek. But this is it looks like the siblings of that young man, and the young man is in the center. And I think that he's actually wearing the same jacket and tie. So, and there he looks like the jacket and tie may be a little loose on him. Not as well fitting as it does look in the other photo. It's a little beat up. So I don't know who these folks are. I don't know if any of them were married into my family. My dad's side of the family is descended from a man called Eske Lauge Petersen, who came from Denmark. Same time that he came from Denmark, his brother came with him, Carl Petersen, and he settled in the same area. They both married, and they had something like 10 to 12 children who survived to adulthood. So there are a lot of family members that I have no idea about. And my father and his family moved from Iowa to Minnesota when he was 8. His next eldest sister, Karen, died when she was about 25, 24, 25, something like that. And my aunt, who is still alive, Diane, was too young. She met a lot of the family members, but she wouldn't have necessarily gone to school with any of the cousins. She wouldn't have seen the more distant cousins, like the second and third generation of everyone quite so much. So she knows the immediate cousins. She knows her mom's siblings, kids, and she may know some of the other Peterson side of the family, but she doesn't know all of the distant cousins that were descended from Carl, or I'm guessing that she probably knew all of Eske Lauge's side of the family. This one is another also very good-looking young man. Is he also in this picture? I don't think he was in that picture. I think this is a different gentleman. So I really recommend that people try to not only sit down and talk to their relatives because they've got great stories to tell, but because they might remember who they were told that these people were, even if they don't remember these people at all. This is somebody from Kimballton, Iowa. Now you might see that there's a name down there, A. Anderson. That is not the name of the gentleman. That is the name of the photographer. And somebody once asked me, can't you track down the photographer and see if there's any records? And the possibility that there might actually be records is tempting. I don't know that I've actually tried that. If anyone has, please hit me up. Comment below. This one I don't remember or don't know either. This one again is from Harlan, or no, this one's from Kimballton. Again, I don't recognize him. He doesn't look familiar at all. I have photographs of many of the cousins that I'm at least from Escalauga's side of things, so I know those cousins, but I can't guarantee these aren't Carl's children or offspring. This one is from Harlan, and this is particularly difficult because it's a baby. This is somebody's baby picture. So oftentimes when I purchase old albums that have photographs in them, unless the albums are in really nice shape, I will remove the photos and I will parse them out. I'll sell them off separately. I will sometimes try to find the families that are, if they're named families or if there's any identifying information, I will try to find them and try to offer them the photos for the cost of shipping. But often what I've noticed, like with these and with other family photos that I was going through, is that the only time you actually mark the photos is if you think that your family might not recognize them. So you're going to mark your friends' names down, or friends of the family. But you may not mark family members because, well, you're always going to remember, you know, Uncle Ted. He's going to be somebody you always remember. You're always going to remember, and your kids will always remember their aunt. And so, like writing down on photos that it's me and my sister in a photo feels a little redundant. Especially because probably after I'm gone, no one's going to want those photos because neither of us have had children. So, but it's still important if you have other family members like my cousins who will probably inherit my estate eventually, like to have this information. So this is the last one. It's another baby photo. It's harder to see. There's a little glare there here. Let's see if I can get him closer, or her. And this one it doesn't have where. Nothing on the back either. So these are the backs. So these photos are going to be sold because I can't keep them. And honestly, one of the things that I'm doing as with my online business is I'm trying to keep my stuff in my house, because in the Bay Area you can't afford to buy a house unless you're living with somebody. And this has been kind of true for me. My mom and I had purchased the house together, and when she passed, now I have the responsibility of the mortgage on my own. So I am making up the amount that is left over by selling online. And at this point, with these photos, unless somebody steps in and says, I do know who this person is, send it to me, and I'll pay you the shipping, I will be putting them up on Etsy. So talk to your older relatives, ask them about their lives, ask them about the photos that they have and who are in the pictures. Spend a couple of hours sitting with them and labeling pictures, please. It's going to save you a whole lot of hassle at the end, or in the end, and it's going to be much easier then to identify what photos you can send to family members who might want them and who might want what photos. So, okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you have a lovely afternoon.